Says we're going live.
Did you miss me?
Says we're going live. Always. Says we're here. Says
Okay.
we're here. I don't actually know if I'm here until my existence is validated by others, especially since everybody's first glimpse of you is of not you, and it's just me, so... Gotta love the delay. We get to watch it first.
Right?
We may or may not actually be all here, but I'm gonna proceed as if we are.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. What are words? I don't know. This is our weekly live stream where we record our podcast, the audio version of which goes out every Friday. We are here, as of right now, 3 minutes early. If you are here for the stream and don't like idle chit chat, you got a few minutes. If you are here after the live stream, but before I put in timestamps, and you don't like idle chit chat, fast forward by at least 3 minutes. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say hi to folks.
Yeah. A lot of people say hi to.
Hi Kitty. Hi JB. Hi Opheliac. And thank you, by the way. Hi Taishu. Hi HM. Hi Little Miss. Hi Dorina. Hi Rara. Hi Brittany. My brain says Dan Doody, Dan Doodie. It might be D and Udi. I don't know. Please correct me, but hello and greetings. Wow, Poland. Let's see. Did I say hi to Little Miss, or are you my No, you're not. Yeah, you're my duplicate. Hi Little Miss twice. There we go. And did I say hi to Silent? I don't know. Silent, if I didn't say hi to you, hello. And now we're getting a weird message on our YouTube live stream.
Oh?
Something lower than recommended something. And Silent says the light is doing a weird thing again.
Yeah, it's been doing that flickering thing.
Oh, this just jumped over. That was part of it. See, normally I can see that and that. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. We're getting a message on our bit rate, so I don't know what that will mean for the live stream. This ought to be interesting.
Yep.
And now your girl wants to go back out.
Of course. Let me let her out.
Okay. So, butt rub stuff. We're here. I know, I was looking to you to help me with butt rub stuff. Sorry, y'all. He gave me equally as blank a look as I was giving him and not looking at y'all in the camera. Yeah. Good times. We have no reason for being distracted today, but we definitely are. JB was like, "Oh, I gotta go do one more thing before we go live," and I'm like, "But we're already 3 minutes past the time we normally go live, and now I can't think of words, and you're doing stuff."
Yes,
I'm
doing stuff.
Organized, but that's okay.
I'm turning off
to try and deal with our internet thing.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I do not know what the problem is.
I don't know either.
And nobody is telling us that they can't see or hear us. So,
right. So far, I mean, I'm looking at it on my iPad here, and
might just affect the actual video quality.
Maybe.
Now or later. I don't know.
Yep.
We'll find out.
But anyway, yeah, if it's a bandwidth issue, I was shutting stuff down to try and conserve bandwidth.
Gotcha. Just a reminder, because we're still new to wearing these and I haven't finished everything we do. Our shirts are available on our Etsy shop. Our Etsy shop is linked in the description box. Yeah. So yeah, it is 12:01, so we will get started. That was a sad little butt rub.
It was.
I'm not warmed up at all. But that's okay. We're gonna do the thing.
Right.
As you can tell from the title, we are gonna talk about the terms Brat Tamer versus Brat Handler. I know that some of these terms give people strong feelings, so this ought to be interesting. What else? How does this work? Oh, if you enjoy this while you're watching it, we love a thumbs up. Completely forgot. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And go ahead and ring the notification bell so you get updates and new content.
Sure. Do what Daddy says. And even though this has already gone horribly off the rails, let's go ahead and do this thing.
All right.
Okay, before we get into this week's episode, got a couple things to go over. The first one is, thanks to Beducated for sponsoring this week's episode. Yay! If you've been around for a hot minute, you know we love Beducated. It is an online learning platform, but instead of all those like work topics, it's sex, kink, relationships. Some of them are like in short snippets and some of them are longer courses. All of it's got a video basis to it, sometimes with, you know, homework. And when we're talking sex, kink, and relationships, homework is like what you want. Like, no, we're not mad about homework and those kinds of contexts. So, at Beducated, they do have a kink section. They have a communication section. They have a, oh, you want to do something sexy with a vulva? Here you go. Here's that section. Something sexy with a penis? Here you go. You want to like do new things to you? There you go. You want to get better at things. So some of those courses are, there's a course on boundaries. And I mean, I'm better than I used to be, but I did have this moment of, I might need to take that and just translate it into non-sex stuff because I'm not great at boundaries. But then there's also like courses on play wrestling, you know, when you start manhandling one another and get sexy with it, and daddy role play and dirty talk and pegging and like all kinds of stuff. So, oh my. So if one of your goals is to get better at any part of sex, kink, or relationships, you might want to check out Beducated. If you use the code LOVING, you'll get 60% off. The whole Black Friday thing is happening early all over the place. So use the link in the places, description box on YouTube, show notes on for the podcast. Use code LOVING. You save 60% off depending on how the plan you sign up for. That could be as low as $6.66 per month. I think that's on an annual plan. You get the first 24 hours for free, so you can look around and see, is this even what I want before you get charged? And then there's a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied, you got 2 weeks. But yeah, you can take the courses like at your own pace. So like the segments, and depending on the course, might be like 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 10. And you watch it, and then you stop and you go do what you gotta do, and you come back to it. And then there'll be like little assignments, and like, I'm just saying, that's the kind of homework I'm here for. Let's get sexy with it. Let's get kinky with it. Let's get communicative with it, whatever the class might be.
And then have some fun with it.
Exactly. So that sounds like your thing. Code is LOVING, 60% off. Link in the places. Thanks again to Beducated for sponsoring this week's episode. We love you, Beducated. Okay. One more announcement. November 18th is fast approaching.
Yep.
Like way too fast. Like 10 days away from the time of recording. And on November 18th, we will be at the Woodshed in Orlando.
Yes.
Selling and shilling our kinky wares.
That we will.
They're doing a kinky vendor thing. You love to say the name. Would you like to do it? Because I know it makes you happy.
Extravaganza.
You love that word. I don't know what that word is. What it is about that word, but you love that word. Yeah, where there's the kinkery. We're gonna have paddles and wooden knives and wax play candles if I don't accidentally sell them all before we get there. And diabolical sticks and oh my. So if you are near Orlando, Florida, can get to Orlando, Florida, want to be in Orlando, Florida on November 18th from 3 to 7 at the Woodshed, come see us. It's free to go in during that time.
Correct.
And it's a low pressure situation in a dungeon because lights are all up and there's vendors everywhere. And you don't have to come by from us. You can just come say hi. I'll probably be awkward, but I am always awkward. It's just my nature. Yeah, Woodshed, November 18th, 3 to 7. We'll be there. If you're there, come say hi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, we're going to get into this topic. And here's what's funny. When I thought, hey, let's have this conversation, I thought it was a brilliant idea.
Uh-oh.
And now I'm thinking about discussing it. I'm like, oh, so how many people are going to piss off? So I want to give like disclaimers and caveats and all of that stuff to episodes like this, where we talk about terms. And we've done different episodes in the past where we're talking about terms. The thing is, our philosophy on these terms is, yes, there needs to be a common language. Labels are important to give a common language to all of us so we kind of all know what we're talking about, and you have to have a place to start. But also, the definitions are a lot more flexible and malleable than some people think they are. You can make the word fit you instead of you having to fit a predefined definition. I don't think that's what that is, but you know what I mean, right? So we're going to talk about these terms as we see them based on our understanding and our viewpoint, and it is okay if you fundamentally disagree. If you're like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I use this term in this way and this is what it means for me, that is okay. Right. Okay, that's kind of how we think it should be. So, Brat Tamer versus Brat Handler.
Yeah.
So I tried to do my research.
Okay.
And see if I could come up with a good solid definition that the world thinks there is. If somebody has tried to define where I go, yeah, I see where they're coming from with that. Brat Tamer is so fucking common. I was like, Brat Tamer, BDSM definition. And mostly what I got was like Cosmo and Mashable and all these articles where people are talking about, look, it's real trendy in the Google world to do BDSM content these days. So you can get those good clicks. And it is weird to me that bratty submissives would be on a site like Mashable After Dark, of all things. It's whatever. Okay. Right. So I was trying to like find a source that was like, no, I think this is actually kink. They might have a credible definition. And we found some. Okay. On YouTube, I will not be linking to these because I don't need YouTube to shut us down. They will be linked in Friday's podcast's show notes page. So the first is from the BDSM Training Academy website. I don't have any opinions on the Training Academy itself. No interaction with that I can remember. But I was like, okay, at least it's a BDSM site. So this is how they define Brat Tamer.
Okay.
Brat taming is almost as misunderstood as bratting. Brat taming is not about breaking the spirit of a brat or getting them to stop bratting. It is about teaching a brat when it is appropriate to brat and when it is not. Brat tamers who engage in brat taming are usually sadists who enjoy the challenge brats can bring and enjoy punishments. They enjoy playing with brats and are usually into spanking, whipping, paddling, and other forms of corporal punishment. There are also plenty of fake brat tamers out there who confuse brat taming with putting fear into a brat and forcing them to never brat again. Thus, it is important to know what brat taming is and what it isn't before you engage in it or before seeking a brat tamer. The reason I picked this definition is because, yes, to me, there's two sides to that term, whether you like that term or don't, you reject that term or don't. And I wanted to point that out. Now, Brat Handler. Okay. There's a Kinctionary section on FetLife. I was not aware. Okay. I was like, okay, here we go. So, this is how FetLife defines Brat Handler. Okay. Also known as a Brat Wrangler. I like that too. A person who is the dominant or top role in a consensual relationship with a brat. Brat handlers, sometimes also referred to as just a handler, see themselves as enhancing or engaging in a brat's natural tendencies. They do not wish to change or mold the brat's behavior, but are more than capable of assertiveness or delivering punishments if the brat gets too out of hand. You, my darling JB, are a sass handler.
I am.
Right.
I am.
So, what do we think about these terms?
So, the first one,
Brat Tamer.
Brat Tamer. I like the definition
that the site
gave.
Yeah.
The term Brat Tamer has always left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Okay. And I think it's in part because of when I came into the lifestyle, there were a lot of people who would throw around the words how they're going to tame their submissive, they're going to break their submissive, they're going to, remold them into something, something other than they are. So in that case, the term tamer for me always left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
Sure, it's like the implication is you're being bratty and I'm going to make you stop being bratty. And I mean, there's depending on who you are and how you engage with your own bratty behavior or sassy behavior, there can be an appeal to that for some people, I'm sure. But yeah, I get you. The implication is, it's almost like I'm going to fix you. I'm going to make you not be that way. Yeah. And temporarily, like, I'm not a brat, but I am sassy and I understand there's a line. I get it. Get me to a place where all I can be is obedient because that's what I want, because something about the interaction made me go, okay, I remember who's in charge now. This is good. I can see that. But I personally, for me, I can see that in that being an exception, not a rule, certainly for us, simply because, if you're trying to, quote, tame your brat, as the name implies, you don't want them to be bratty. And there are times when you don't want somebody to be bratty. Maybe that's not the moment.
There's a time and place for everything.
Right,
okay?
Right.
Even as you found out, there's a time and place for sass.
I know. I think it should be always and everywhere, but sure. Time and place.
And the way I've always kind of looked at it and why I frowned upon those things, because if someone identifies as a brat, okay, I would think that is a fundamental part of who they are to a good extent.
Sure.
All right. I mean, look at you. You couldn't survive without the sass.
Oh God, no! I feel empty and dead inside.
Right.
And bored.
Right. So the thought that of taking that away from them and changing them into something they're not. That's kind of why. That initially that term did not sit well with me.
Yeah.
Okay. This definition, go ahead and...
Right here on this tab right there.
That tab right there. I mean, teaching, when it's acceptable, when it's not. Correcting,
reminding one who's in charge.
Right.
I mean, I'm getting a little turned on just thinking about that. But, yeah.
So, and I have to say that, the other definition, I relate to that much more. Yes.
The same. I like that the BDSM Training Academy defined it as being misunderstood, because I think it probably is. I think those people who embrace the Brat Tamer label and genuinely enjoy the bratty behavior from their submissive at some level at certain times or whatever, would say, yes, I'm not trying to make them stop. We're having this moment where I'm correcting because maybe this wasn't the time, or the brat was pushing buttons and they're going to get more than maybe they hoped for, or this is part of the play, and the play, that's the thing. It's the give and take of brat and sass. Again, I get it. There's a fucking line between the two. I know. There's a line. There's a time and place for it, and it's a back and forth. It's part of the energy exchange and the power exchange.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna always do it because I'm first and foremost trying to be a good girl. But when I sass, I want a reaction. I think I'm hilarious.
Right.
And I've met many a brat who you can see the gleam in their eyes after they've bratted. They're like, I'm fucking hilarious. I don't know what their other motivations are. I don't know them. I'm not in their head, but I know that fucking look when I'm like, yeah, I said the thing. And now what's the reaction? Very rarely for me am I trying genuinely to get your dominant reaction. When I am sassy and sassing, I really am going for the laugh. That's a little bit why I don't say I'm a brat. But I have had those moments where I knew that I was like tiptoeing on the line, and I wanted the reaction. I wanted you to come back at me as a dominant, not not even as my daddy, and even maybe as my daddy, not the caregiver side, but the okay, you're pushing it, girl. I'm like, Yeah, I am. I'm glad you've noticed. And so I know that there are those interactions, and it's not a universal because nothing's universal, but I think it's probably a little bit more common than maybe not, of brats bratting for the reaction, for the wait. Are you going to push back? Are you going to put me in my place? But it's all an exchange of energy. And Brat Tamer, if you embrace the definition similar to how this site, BDSM Training Academy, defines it, I'm a lot more comfortable with the term in general this way of, yeah, I'm taming you temporarily. I'm not stopping you from being a brat, but I'm going to remind you of your place, and there's going to be punishment, stern, whatever that dynamic is. But we know that this is going to keep coming around. That's the fucking point, right? I don't personally love Brat Tamer or Sass Tamer. We're getting really specific in the way I want to engage in that, because I think for me, it's intention. Like, because I'm not intending to like piss you off or disobey or challenge. Very rarely is that my intention. Okay. If the energy that came back to me every time was a correction, even if it was fun and kinky and sexy, I know me. I would be like, this is fun every once in a while, but this is over the top every time, because that's not what I'm going for. But that's where I go back to the energy exchange and the power exchange. What are we actually trying to do here? Is bratting and the response to bratting meant to be a push and pull, and that's what we want, at least some of the time?
To a certain extent. Right. I mean, on the other side of the spectrum, and you called it, and I absolutely embrace it. You have on a number of occasions called me a bratty daddy.
Oh, you're a bratty daddy.
Okay.
Because when I say it, it's partly because you're playful and you're teasing.
Yeah.
Not the way I interpret bratting on my side of the slash, though. Like, you're not trying to be petulant or disobedient, but you are trying to get a rise. And you will tease. And I know a lot of brats who are trying to get the rise and they're trying to tease. They're not, some of them are trying to be a little disobedient, see what they can get away with. And some are like, I want to push your buttons and see what happens. And how do you push back when I push those buttons? And
that's just it. And I think a lot of that depends on the circumstances at the time. Because like you said, there are times you have brought on the sass and they'll be like, girl, this is not the time. And
see, the internal good girl in me goes, okay, I feel bad. I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of that correction, because that's not fun to me. But I'm also like, oh, okay, I'm put in my place. But I would, from our dynamic, which is just one of an infinite number of ways to do it, that's not taming. More so, that's a little bit of discipline.
Right. And then on the other part of that, there are times when you have brought the sass, and I've given back just as good as I've gotten.
I know, and usually then it ends with me going, no, Daddy, you're being so mean. I don't like this. I feel like nothing says I'm an only child better than the fact I cannot handle too much teasing. Like, I genuinely cannot. I cannot be shit talked or anything. Like, it will hurt my feelings and I will cry. Also, my inability to share snacks.
As someone who had 2 siblings, I'm just giving you a taste of what you missed out on.
Nope, I'm good. I feel good. So, Brat Handler, and I don't know the history of this because I would have had to search like the bowels of fucking Google to find this, and that's almost impossible with kink stuff anyway, and I didn't have the time. But I almost wonder if the term Brat Handler came into being as a alternative to Brat Tamer, because I know there are a lot of people who do not like the term Brat Tamer,
right?
Because of the implication and even the definition on BDSM Training Academy, when it was like, okay, the way it's used badly is that I'm going to break you of the bratting, and that's what I think taming means. And, and truly, if you think of what the word tame means, I think a lot of people, that's where their head would go. I mean,
right, because you have these, I know for myself, you go into these thoughts of years ago at Sir, you have your tiger trainers, your tiger, animal trainer, lion tamer.
Right, exactly. And it's to subdue and to remind them who's boss, but to change a fundamental part of their being so that they can interact in front of an audience, or I'm in lion taming. That's where I'm taking that. So it's like a brat tamer. I can see people rejecting that term because it's like, I'm not trying to break you. I'm not trying to make you not bratty. So don't
want you to be something you're not.
Right. Now the sad thing is there are way too many people who don't want the brat, but instead of going, okay, we're just incompatible, they are trying to eliminate the brat behavior from the bratty person. And that's, to me, a little scary. I think, yes, it can go to the dark side of abuse and something really unhealthy and negative. But there's also the you are presenting to me as you are, and I'm deciding that it's unacceptable. But instead of just saying, okay, I don't think this works, we're not compatible. I, as the dom who doesn't like bratting, but have decided, I'm sure you can be my submissive, I'm going to try and make you somebody that you're not. And that
and see that is something to me, and even with past partners I've had, I love your sass. Okay, I don't want to take that away from you, because I like that push and pull aspect of our relationship. Yes, there are times it's frustrating.
Right.
When it's brought out at the wrong time or in the wrong way. But the way I look at it, the way I see it, it keeps it fun.
And, I'm only one submissive, speaking from one perspective. But being allowed, I guess air quote that, because it's fundamental to my nature, but also we have to agree there's a consent part to this, that you will accept sass from me. Being allowed to sass, but being taught, sometimes through consequences, that there's a time and a place, or there's a way to go about doing it. To me, that's the submissive part of being a bratty or sassy submissive, because I choose to give up that control. Like if I was just sassy, or if I was just bratty and there was no submissive part there might be a constant push and pull, but in my mind, for me, I don't know how others define this for themselves, it would be I'm going to constantly fight you, and I might lose sometimes, but the fight is part of it. I'm going to be bratty and see how you react, and I'm only going to be bratty. The submissive part of it, to me, is when I allow you to, dictate the terms that right now it's fun, and right then it is not fun. You know what I mean?
And see, that's why I like that aspect of our relationship, because I enjoy that push and pull. Okay, I like at times having to wrestle that thing from you, but definitely not something I want to take away from you.
Right, because then it's taking away a part of who I am, and then I am not the person that you went, oh, that's my person, I like them.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's the biggest problem from observation, because I just don't have enough experience with it. The biggest problem I see from observation is that too many power exchanges occur between somebody who has a bratty or sassy or playful side and a person who does not want it, like it, respect it, doesn't think it has a place. Whether it's because they have an idea in their mind of what they think submission is, or it's just not a thing that they're into. And instead of going, okay, we are just incompatible, more time is spent on, how do I break you of this? How do I make this go away because I don't like it? And then, you get into some not good moments. And bratting, like everything, one, it can be part of a power exchange, just the way you are interacting with another. Two, it has to be consented to. But three, it's a compatibility thing. You either like this part of me, whether you want to add some discipline to it and teach me in our own kinky way, time and place, or it's fun to go back and forth. This is not us, because I'm not built this way, but for other people, it's fun to go back and forth because there's going to be a point where the line is crossed and now it gets kinky in a way that they like. But it's still enjoyable on some level for everybody involved. Now, brat handlers, go back to it. I wonder, and I don't know, did it come about because enough people went, I don't like Brat Tamer, that's not quite right.
Right.
So when we get Brat Handler or Wrangler, I am not unhappy with this term. It's not, if I think if you chose to call yourself a sass handler, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably true. Because look, I'm a handful, and I am okay with that. I've learned to embrace that. I'm not ashamed of that side of myself. I'm not hiding that side of myself. You enjoy it 95% of the time, and the job we have with one another is dealing with that other 5%. And my submissive nature is like, okay, I want to avoid that 5%. I want to go for the 95. Now we're having fun, right?
Yeah.
But I am a handful, and getting a handle on me is not always easy. And I'm okay with that. I don't want it to be easy for anybody. I want, let's have the challenge. Like, can you match wits with me? Can you keep up with me?
Exactly.
Can you push back? Can you say or do something that puts me in that submissive place where I go, ooh, yeah, that's right. He's in charge, and I'm okay that he's in charge.
For me as a dominant, dealing with your sass, your brassiness, it's challenging. It's almost like it keeps me on edge, keeps me sharp, Right. All right. What you up to now? What you trying to
I like the definition of brat handler as they don't want to change or mold the brat's behavior. Just get a handle on it. Like, here, go be your bratty self. Oh, but now you've gone too far, and I'm the dominant, and I'm going to put you in your place.
Rein you back in.
That's part of what we do here.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not unhappy with that term. It doesn't bother me the way Brat Tamer kind of does, because I think it's because in my mind, I can see how Brat Tamer gets taken to not a good place by too many people. I can see how it's used to justify, maintaining an incompatible relationship, but ultimately, like, everybody's going to be miserable at some point.
Yeah.
I can definitely see where it's used in a dangerous way that's not healthy, certainly for the brat in question.
Sure.
Brat handler doesn't get me in those feels quite as much. I do think that I think it's fun and it's fine if you want to have little terms and you're like, yeah, I'm a Brat Tamer, a Brat Handler. Like, that's fine. I'm sassy. I get it. Like, I call myself that, and I take that label. I don't. Part of me, though, the part of me that's just, maybe we've just spent too many years talking about power exchange. I just see it all as power exchange. So I'm like, you're a dom and they're a sub. Your flavor is, this one's a brat, and you as the dom are like, okay, I'm facing the challenge. I mean, and I'm enjoying it.
That's like, I get upset too when I see people talking about, brat shouldn't exist. Brat have no place in the lifestyle.
I'm just gonna eye roll real hard.
Yeah, it's like, no, they have their place. They're just not for you.
Right.
Move along and find what you want.
If what you want is a really disciplined, subservient, in all aspects, however you define that, submissive partner who is going to learn what you want them to learn. They're not going to question. And that's what you enjoy, and that's what you need. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're not going to negate somebody else's need for the challenge, the playfulness, and the push and pull. Because for some people, that's exactly what they need. Now, not everybody who engages in the push and pull would say that they're brats. I think that's a type of push and pull, a type of challenge. There are other ways that people challenge one another in power exchange. I think primal play can be part of the challenge. Predator and prey. And
sure, it's the same type of thing. You're as but again, even in that, you're not trying to take that aspect of somebody away.
Right. You're reveling in it, really. You're embracing it and taking advantage of it. It's like, okay, this is the energy we bring to this. You're going to challenge me and I'm going to push back. And that collision in the power exchange is where the fun, the satisfaction, the kink, the whatever
right.
is. And that's why I cannot embrace brat for myself, because most of the time I want to serve and I want to be a good girl. I want the praise. Yeah. I want you to be happy. I want to know I've taken care of you. I want to know I've done for you.
And then other times you're like a pot ready to boil.
Well, and it's not even, now, not all brats are in it for the challenge of it. We all, see, look, I said we. those of us in the category, and I think sass is a subset. Okay, I do, because there's absolutely this style and thought in power exchange that submissives are supposed to speak demurely. They're supposed to be polite. They're supposed to not. They're not. You can challenge in terms of let's negotiate, but like, there's a way, a stereotypical way that submissives are seen to be and wanted, whatever. And when you go into the brat and sass territory, we kind of reject some of that at the bare minimum.
And I think that's where a lot of that comes in, because whether it was old guard or high protocol,
sure,
you in those type of, you don't do that, but
then, it's the height of like bad manners and bad training, and you're a reflection of your dom, and you know what, that's old fashioned. I know I'm still a reflection of you, and I'm sassy and I'm smart and I'm playful and I'll challenge you, and I won't take shit from somebody who has not earned what you have earned. And you want me to be that way. You like that about me. It's a feature, not a bug. You know what I mean?
True.
But back to what I was saying, not every brat's to challenge, right?
True.
Like, everybody has their own ways of engaging and their own
reasons
and all of that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. For those who say brats are not real subs, or they're bad, or they're whatever, they should be dealt with, whatever. It's like, just say you can't handle a challenge from your partner.
Right.
Next time, just say it. Just say you don't want to and can't. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, it's valid to not want that kind of challenge. Like, it's about style. And anytime I hear somebody go, oh, well, that brat needs to be tamed, and not in like the fun, playful way we've been talking about, or there shouldn't be brats, or bratting is not submissive. I mean, that's just a version of one true wayism. You see submissives as a specific type or style, and anything outside of that does not fit that person's narrow definition of what submission is, not just for themselves, but for everybody. And that's one true wayism every fucking time.
Yeah.
Now, Brat Tamer is one thing and can get twisted way too easily. Brat Handler, again, I don't have any problems with that term. I can see that term. But I still go back to, it is a little bit narrowing. It's a little bit putting somebody in a box.
And you know what? I don't think you can come up with any kind of label to a certain extent that doesn't.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I agree.
It's just not possible. And you take the labels with a grain of salt.
I think so, yeah.
To a bit.
I mean, we talk about redefining them for ourselves as individuals all the time.
So, there is that. I kind of like Wrangler.
Wrangler, yeah. I mean, because there's a little bit of me going off the rails. You having to pull me back.
Break out the lasso and...
I'm okay with it. I mean, that sounds kind of kinky too. I think I'm kind of here for it. I understand some folks needing language to describe the unique experience of being a dom to a brat, especially if you're faced with, in the community, parts of it that are telling you that bratting it shouldn't even be allowed, is not okay, is not, quote, true submission, or whatever.
Well, I mean, it's like anything else. When I first came into the lifestyle, labels were important to me because it made me kind of know where I fit. You
got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
With some kind of language to get you started to figure things out.
And now when people ask, what kind of relationship are you in? What are you? We're in a power exchange relationship.
I know that's because to try to narrow it down to just dom sub, just daddy, dom baby girl, just masochist sadist, it's too complex.
Yeah,
it's too complex because there are parts of ourselves that we recognize and we've put names to and titles to and labels to and all that, but also who we are with one another and how we're interacting is dependent not just on the roles that we've accepted for ourselves and our likes and dislikes and wants and needs and kinks and blah, 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 but also what's going on in this moment? What is right for this moment? Sometimes what you get is the service submissive who's like, I just want to take care of you. How can I take care of you? And sometimes you get the baby girl who's like, Daddy, I need you to take care of me. Even if that means telling me to go my ass to bed, or, whatever. Or when you hand me the quarter of the gummy that I can handle, because they're like, here, you can have this tonight, baby girl.
Yeah.
And then there are the times when it's like actually what we need or want or getting off on or whatever it is the push and pull and the challenge.
Right. But, when it comes down to it, to say you're a brat, or you're a brat wrangler, handler, tamer, or whatever,
right?
It's still a power exchange.
It's all power exchange.
It's all power exchange.
I know.
All right.
I know.
And it's no different than being in a high protocol, low protocol, old guard. It is a power exchange relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody's in controlling or in charge or whatever, and somebody is not, or they're giving up control or power, however temporarily, and however that is negotiated between the two of them or more, is up to the individuals involved, and whatever labels they choose to use are up to them. And I've not gone fully into, I hate all labels, they just box me in. I know a lot of people feel that way. I forgot to put the caveat at the beginning that if you reject all labels, that's fine too. We know, you don't have to tell me angrily in the comments. Anyway, but I do absolutely feel like the limiting power of some of those terms. As much as I'm like here for, let me put names to things to describe me, but then let me explain to you what that means to me. It's why I get really pissed off when the world's like, oh, but you're a brat. No, the fuck I'm not. Because the way I define that for myself, and I will never put the pressure on anybody else to accept my definition for themselves of what that means. No, I don't fit. I don't qualify.
I have never seen, and I still feel bad about this because of the way it happened, when I looked at you and said, oh no, you are a brat, and you burst out in tears.
Yeah.
You burst out in tears. So yeah, now the closest I will ever come with that now is brassy.
Yeah, and I'll accept brassy. I understand I am, tap dancing on a line between the two. For me, it goes back to intent. And that's why these labels can be kind of fun to play with. I would never call you a Brat Tamer. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Handler, wrangler. Sometimes.
A bratty cohort.
I'm sassy and you're bratty. Let's just put that way. And you know what? I think part of the reason the terms in general can be really limiting is sometimes sass taming, but you are, because I have gone too far and you're like, oh, I'm putting my foot down and I'm going to correct this behavior, and it might be kinky and it might be, whatever, but I'm correcting this behavior. And sometimes you are just wrangling me. You're like, oh shit, she's gone off the rails. Let me pull her back a little bit. Let me make sure she knows, her place in this. Or you're handling me in that, okay, we're doing the push and pull. And then sometimes we're giving as good as we're getting to one another. Like, I am saying the sassy thing. I'm giving you the sassy look. And what you're doing is giving it back 100-fold. Like, there's no wrangling or handling or taming. There is, enjoying it together. I don't even have a term for it. I don't even know what that term would be. And that's where I feel like the limiting factor of some of these terms is that it uses a broad term to try to describe something that is probably not what's happening 100% of the time. Yeah. Sometimes there might be a taming, sometimes there might be a handling, sometimes there's a wrangling, sometimes there's something else, right?
Right.
And trying to narrow it down and say you are this in terms of brat, sass, whatever behavior, it's too, in that point it's too limiting. It doesn't fit. What you are is my dom, and we're in a power exchange, and the way we like to be in our power exchange is to most of the time be kind of serious about it, but oftentimes be very playful with it.
Right.
Because if we didn't have the playful aspect, we'd be bored.
Yes.
When we tried to be super serious, we didn't quite mesh.
It didn't work. And then once we brought the other elements into it, it just snapped and took off took off running.
This is not about brat versus sass, but the way I think about this also goes for me into the fact that I don't need to always call you daddy. I don't like to say your name. That's nope. That's way too fucking casual. It doesn't feel right in my mouth. But to call you JB, that's this world persona. I don't like calling you Southern Sir, which is your fat name. Yeah. But people who, in the lifestyle and community, that's how they call him. And I'm like, no, that's John Brownstone. But okay, fine, Southern Sir. But Mr. John, JB, something other than your legal name. And your first name by itself, that's not formal enough. I don't like it. It's, yes, you're my daddy Dom and you're my caregiver, but you are so much more than that. So yes, you wrangle my sass and you handle my sass, and on occasion you might tame my sass, but you are so much more than that. And that's the part I don't like about labels and the way they sometimes get applied to people, is they limit people.
Sure.
I go back to, you can take on a label and do exactly what we do. Redefine it for yourself, or go, this is just one facet, and here are these other things that fit me as well, and this is what makes the whole, conglomeration of who I am, and all of that. And even still, I know for me that's still not satisfying. I can line up all my little labels in a row, and I'm like, yeah, but I wish there was just a term I could go, this, and actually it's Kayla. I mean, it's Kayla Lords. That's what this is. Whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah.
I don't know how satisfying of a way of thinking about that is for anybody. I'm not on the side of all labels are bad, because I go back to, you got to have a common language. You have to have a way of explaining yourself. First, you have to have a way of knowing what to go look for. We need words for that. That's just the nature of it. But language is always changing, and we can change the definitions. Maybe not fundamentally. Like, we wouldn't say Brat Tamer is all about having a subservient, submissive. Like, that doesn't make sense. You don't just arbitrarily whole cloth change things, but you go, okay, I understand that people think of brat taming this way, but it appeals to me, and here's why, and here's how I think of it, right? And when you do that with labels, I think you get more introspective about what kink is. At the same time, I think you can also think about a label and reject it and go, I don't like that label, it doesn't fit me, or I wish you can even go so far as to say you wish it didn't exist. It's fine. But that tells me that you've probably put a lot of thought into that label, and that to me is what is the most interesting. How much let's put thought into what we're doing. Let's research it, and let's experiment and try things, whatever, but putting the thought into it and consciously choosing, yes, this label, no, this, not this label, or yes, this experience, but not this label, or whatever. Like, everything about kink is completely individualized.
Sure.
My kink experience will not match another soul's kink experience on this planet, because they can't have the exact experiences I have had. They can't have the exact thoughts I have. They can't even see every single label the exact way I see it, right?
Correct.
So to think about these labels and go, I like this, I don't like this, I'll take the label because it appeals, but here's what it means to me, whatever. Like, that's just more individualization of your kink experience, right? But labels are useful because then we get a common language. If you say brat wrangler, brat handler, maybe brat tamer, you're gonna maybe have to have a conversation, because they're preconceived notions, right? I think a great question when somebody gives you a label that you have especially strong feelings about, right?
Yeah.
So go, what does that mean to you? And see if they can explain themselves. Sometimes you learn they have put zero thought into it, and you're like, okay, I'll see you in 90 days to 3 years, and we'll see, where you're at in your kink journey, right? But sometimes then you learn, oh, okay, the term appealed to you, but it means this to you, and now you know a little bit more about that person.
I know.
Brat Tamer, I'll just go back to Brat Tamer is not my favorite. Brat Handler, I'm okay with. But if I think of who you are, I cannot pin you down to a specific term.
One or the other. Yeah.
And we would have to then substitute sass in, because not brat. Not brat. Except bratty daddy. Bratty daddy, sure. Sure.
I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know that I have much more to say about it. I think that I just think it, it requires personal thought, and if what appeals to you, what doesn't. And I would just love the people who just don't like bratty behavior to just fucking admit that to themselves and go find themselves a submissive who's not going to be bratty, and leave the brats and sassy subs of the world alone. We're having a good time without you.
And leave them to the people who love it and want it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Nobody is telling you that you can't have a power exchange where there's a lot of rule following and discipline and no backtalk and no snark and whatever you get. Go have it.
Right.
Leave the rest of us the fuck alone.
Yeah. So. I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, that little bit updated definition of Brat Tamer. Yeah, I can kind of sit with that a little better than.
And I do like how that site acknowledges how that term gets twisted, which is why I think it leaves a bad taste in some people's mouths, and then we've evolved to brat handler or whatever.
Yeah.
If I was going to pick, I'd take brat handler over Brat Tamer for sure. But
and I mean, labels are labels, and they're not the end all be all.
No.
In anything. So
I think from the experience I've had with just getting to know people, I feel like labels tend to be really important when you're first figuring shit out. Whether you're brand new to kink or you're just brand new to that flavor of kink and you're like, oh, I figured this out about myself. Let me go dive in a little bit more.
Yeah.
The folks who I have met and gotten to know, even on a surface level over the years, who've done this long enough that the new feeling has worn off and they're just sort of comfortable in their kink selves. I mean, they might give you a couple of labels, sure, especially in context of the conversation. But, most people are like, I'm a dom, I'm a sub. Because it's like, it's almost the feeling I get is I don't have to define that for you. I know what that means, but I know you'll understand this term. I'm a masochist, I'm a top, I'm a bottom. Like, they keep it real simple. And there's nothing wrong with being new and excited and going, I am all of these labels. Like, I think that's a really common experience for a lot of people. I know it was for me, and I still hold on to a lot of labels because I feel like if I can give you this laundry list, you won't understand how it all comes together in one, but you'll go, okay, I recognize that, I get that. But yeah. I don't know. I was just real excited to have the conversation, but now I don't feel like I have anything else to say. So I guess we can be done with this one and go into a bonus section. Yeah.
Like anything else, labels, they have their place, they have their use, but they, you don't have to adhere to them. It's interesting to see how these have morphed over time.
Because language is constantly
evolving. So,
reject them, accept them, redefine them, whatever. I just think put intentional thought behind it.
Yeah.
Know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and why, have some time to think through, okay, I like that label, and here's why I like that label, or here's what it means to me.
Yeah.
And then I think we as like a kink community maybe need to get into a better habit of when we hear a label, especially if we have a preconceived notion of what we think it means, just get into a better habit of going, oh, okay, so what does that mean to you? To the extent somebody's willing to tell us. I mean, that could be personal information, but you know what I mean? Like, to be inquisitive.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, because kink is so individual. All right? The definition you put on a label could be total 180 from what I have as a definition for that label, which is totally different from somebody else.
And quite frankly, sometimes if you hear how people use these labels for themselves and what it means to them, man, you could probably find some incompatibilities real quick. Because if somebody told me they were a brat tamer and then they talked about like teaching some lessons and whatever, I'd be like, oh, okay, you are not for me. Right. Good to know. Good to know. And then we can move on.
And move on, and let's see what else we can find. So
yeah, I think that I feel like Brat Handler is an evolution from Brat Tamer, because Brat Tamer does have the ability to leave bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yeah.
And that's that on that, I guess. Whatever your thoughts are on Brat Tamer, Brat Handler, labels in general. As long as we are not assholes, please share in the ways that we are connected. Comments on YouTube, comments on the show notes page for podcast listeners, social media. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, because we all have our opinions, and we all have our reasons for our opinions, and that's okay.
It is. So, are we good?
I don't know.
Keep it kinky, y'all.
I'll see you next week. What the fuck?
Problem, baby girl?
I feel like I royally screwed that up. I don't know. You got me so relaxed that I don't even know what I'm doing.
Wow.
It was. I mean, was it the 1/4 of the gummy that I was allowed to have? Yes. But we know that 1/4 of a gummy does good things. So.
Yes.
And I'm still relaxed a day later.
So.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
I mean, have we already been demonetized on YouTube? Can I say we got a little bit of our groove back thanks to some gummies?
Yeah.
Except you didn't have the gummy. You did the other. Yeah.
I went OG.
You did. You're old school. You got a little wooden pipe that has a little wooden frog carved into it. It's freaking adorable. I just have tropical fruit flavored gummies. So
there's a question about the
in live chat, D-Bunny asked, with the woodshed going on the 18th, is the live munch going to be the 17th? I don't know of anything on the 17th. Are we talking, because the 18th is Sunday. Unless I don't know how dates work. I don't have my phone.
No, 18th is a Saturday.
Is it a Saturday? Why did I think it was a Sunday? I've been thinking it's a Sunday this whole time. If we're talking about the Friday night live stream, that will still happen. Yeah. Because the thing at the Woodshed, we are only 2 hours away from Orlando, so it's not like a weekend trip for us. I don't know what days are. I know what dates are, but I don't know what days are. I just don't know.
Yes, 18th is a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I got the 18th, right? The woodshed thing is on the 18th. Yeah, because they're going to have a party afterwards or a dungeon thing. Yeah. So yeah, Friday.
But it's not in the calendar, and I almost booked something else for the 18th.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't book anything for the 18th.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm not all with it today, and I think I'm too laid back. The thoughts aren't racing, trying to desperately to get from my brain to my mouth. Like, I don't know what to do with that.
Okay.
I do not know what to do with that. What have you got for the bonus section? Because all I'm going to talk about is my gummies and, inappropriate things. Which the gummies are not included in.
So, I mean, I don't know. I have been working my tail off, getting ready for the Woodshed show. That's pretty much been my
I know.
My focus.
I know. Today, as of date of recording, so, if you're watching later, we're time traveling, or listening later, podcast listeners, we're time traveling. We have 10 days.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to be working
right up to it. Oh, yeah.
And still feel like, oh, man, we needed more, blah, blah, blah. But then the scary thing is, not that many days after the Woodshed is Black Friday.
Correct.
And I'm just like, oh, my God. It's great. It's exciting, but it's a little stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And then once this, then we have another show we're going to be doing.
At the end of the year.
Talk about at the end of the year, yeah. Once we get through this one. So, yeah, it's that's pretty much been me.
Yeah.
We did do a little plumbing project.
A what project?
Plumbing.
I thought you said poing, and I was like, what the fuck is a poing? Plumbing project.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, we survived that.
Oh my God. It was the same day. We did it on a Sunday. And it was like, okay, we're going to do that. And then I had to go to Gainesville to take the 18-year-old grocery shopping. And I was like, we're never going to be done. When we went to get the supplies, we went to Home Depot because they had everything we needed, minus one thing.
Right.
So then but that's across town. Like that's a bigger trip. So then we were like, oh shit, we need something else, as you do with home improvement projects. Like it's just inevitable.
Right.
We had to go to Lowe's, and we went to Lowe's not like we were intending. We clearly were not intending to have to leave our house. Like we were in not just like dirty work clothes that you would like expect somebody if they're working on a home improvement project, but like no brushed hair, no brushed teeth. Just like, gotta go. Don't talk to anybody. Certainly don't get in their space because you still have morning breath, but we have to go do this. Yeah, and then we hit a certain point with this plumbing project. I was like, we're never going to finish, are we?
Didn't seem like it,
It did not. It didn't help this day after daylight savings time ended, and so we're all a little like, what time is it even? Like, we fell back. Did I lose an hour? Do I gain an hour? What happens? Where's my hour? What is happening?
But yeah, it all went well. We replaced the cartridges in both showers.
We're doing shower faucet handle.
Shower handle cartridges.
Sure, whatever those are. All I know is that the kids' bathroom has been making a water running noise in the faucet handle thing since we moved in.
Too long, yeah.
We just now fixed it.
Yeah, well, it increased to a point when we first moved in. It was just like a little occasional drip.
Yeah.
And it escalated.
Now sounding like running water
to a steady drizzle.
Yeah.
We took care of. We got that fixed, and we figured we might as well go ahead and do ours as well.
Yeah, which I really like because we also cleaned everything. Like you take the little shower plate thing off, and we CLR'd that, and we took the handle thing, and it was like really cleaned it. And I was like, oh, it looks like new.
Right.
We didn't have to spend a lot of money, but we had to put our labor into it. But it looks like new.
It does.
And there's no running water leak sound in the kids' bathroom anymore.
No more running water.
Which the youngest, the 14-year-old, will not let me call the kids' bathroom the boys' bathroom. He's like, older brother moved out. That is my bathroom
now. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. So, like we're just existing over here.
That's been it. We we haven't had a lot going on right now. We're just in that time of the year where we're just trying to get through to the holidays.
Yeah.
You know.
My mom's coming to visit after Thanksgiving for a week. And then we have the concert right before Christmas. We talked about that last week for anybody who maybe is not caught up in episodes. And I mean, just doing what we can do.
We we had a little surprise repair to your car.
$550 later.
Yep.
But my car doesn't scare me anymore. I'm driving. I was going to the youngest school to get him unenrolled because he's now a homeschool kid. And I'm driving that way towards the school on the road to it, and the whole car starts like shuddering and jerking, and the steering wheel nothing about it is smooth. And I'm like, and I had to have that internal debate of, do I just turn around and go home? I was like, no, because if there's something wrong, now we have to tow. Thankfully, the place we get our car repaired is on the way to the school. So I pulled off into a parking lot, not the auto repair, the parking lot, called JB. I'm like, haha, this is happening. He's like, are you near the repair shop? Actually, yes. Go there now. I'll meet you there. And car stuff stresses me the hell out. I have too many memories, both in childhood and early adult years, of crappy cars that crap out on you, and you have to pull over to the side of the road, and it is very stressful to me. So I was grateful I got to a parking lot. I was grateful the repair shop was like right there. And is it painful to spend over $500 on a car repair? Of course it is. Yeah. I'm not happy about it. It has derailed several plans that were in place. But I'm just glad we could, because I've definitely had the life of having to drive the car that is only holding on with duct tape and prayers. Like, just, I don't want to live that life anymore. Thanks. So.
But yeah, that's been it. And probably after we're done with all this, I'll go out and shop and work for a while.
Yeah, we the youngest is still doing band at his old school, so we have had to shift the responsibility of who drives who to where and when. And so my afternoon is drop him off for a class, wait, because I'm not going to come all the way home, and then bring him home. So it's new experiences.
Yep.
We're all adjusting to new routines. I don't do that well. I don't do that well at all. I do not. Well, you know what? That's not true. Part of me really does. I like the novelty of change sometimes, but another part of me finds it all very overwhelming, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do next if I don't have my routine to follow. Yeah. And so it's a weird push and pull. I'm like, oh, we're doing different things now. This is kind of fun and exciting, but also this is super overwhelming. What is happening? How will I get all of these things done if I don't have a tightly controlled, carefully planned routine that I can just follow without thinking? Like it's a thing. So, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's us, and that's it, and doing the thing, and being our boring selves. Exactly. I've been reading a lot of BDSM smut.
You have been.
To the point that I discovered a couple of BDSM icks that I have, not just in smut, but also like in life. And so that inspired a future episode on our personal BDSM icks, but we will not be kink shaming because that's not okay. Yeah, like, and in my quite relaxed state last night with my quarter of a gummy, because that's all I can handle. And you want to know how that I know that's all I could handle? Because I tried to handle a whole one like a dumbass. Okay. But I was like, I have too many thoughts about BDSM smut. There's some good things happening here, but there's some not so great things. And so then I had to, talk about that ad nauseum with JB, who's just holding his little pipe. Lean back going, I see. So but I do it. I do not have the time for this. I was like, I should make videos about it. Let's talk about BDSM smut and what they're getting right and what they're getting wrong. And my personal pet peeves that are completely subjective, and other people would probably love this, but I'm like, no, you're annoying me. But also, I've been on a streak of like only reading kinky smut, and it's been, oh God, I've been in this like billionaires trope, which is not my favorite trope. I don't like have a problem with it. It's just like, meh, okay, fine. And it's always, I'm a billionaire, but I'm normal people too. No, the fuck you're not. Okay. No, the fuck you're not. And also my partner is always like 22, 23 to my anywhere from 35 to 45. And I don't have a problem with age gap. Yeah. Come on. But like, you have to like have palate cleansers in there. Like so many in a row, you start seeing all the patterns of how the trope works. And then you're like, I'm not even enjoying it anymore. I'm like, I know how this ends. They all end this way. You know what? And I'm sure it's out there and haven't found it yet. But what I need is to read some BDSM smut with a middle-aged, sassy, submissive. Why would I say that? I don't know. Maybe because I am a middle-aged, sassy, submissive. Like, I just need the 40-year-old submissive who's seen some shit in her life. It's like, yeah, I choose you. You're gonna have to work for it, Mr. Dominant man over there. Like, yeah, okay. Am I talking in like het terms? Maybe, because I'm thinking of myself. What I need is to read my story. God damn it. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, now I have thoughts, and I can get on that. There's a term, I can't think of it.
On the bandwagon?
No. I was thinking bully pulpit, and that's not it. Not my high horse. There's an expression you get. Soapbox. Thank you. I went all the way around.
we went on a journey, but we got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, yeah. I could keep rambling, as y'all can tell.
As you do.
But we're gonna stop now.
Yep.
Yeah. But I could sit here all day.
I know
can't.
you could.
I know I can't, but I could.
No, you can't. Not gonna let you.
But I would.
But you can't.
But I would.
But you can't.
I don't know. It would not be entertaining for anybody but me.
That's true.
But that's okay.
So, on that note, now it's time to say goodbye.
Okay. We're going to go.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks
y'all.
for joining us. Bye.
Bye.